If you keep working harder, but the results don't change, and if you keep trying to stay positive, but you still feel stuck, and if the same types of people, money issues, or frustrations keep echoing back to you, you are not fighting circumstances. You are arguing with your own inner conversation. In my modern reconstruction of one of Neville Goddard's most foundational teachings, I'll show you exactly how your private mental dialogue structures your external world and how to change it without therapy, force, or years of self-repair. This is not theory. This is identity creating reality. This is your identity creating your reality. If you're new here, I'm Diane Armitage. I help serious thinkers and modern operators understand how the identity they're operating from and their inner dialogue quietly shape the outcomes they experience every single day. So let's get started. Talking to yourself, it's a habit everyone indulges in. We couldn't stop talking to ourselves more easily than we could stop eating and drinking. All that we can do is control the nature and the direction of our inner conversations. Most of us are absolutely unaware of the fact that our inner conversations are the causes of the circumstances of our life. We're told that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. In other words, your direction in life follows the tracks laid down from your own inner conversations. Are those tracks steering you in the direction you really want to go? It's so important that we analyze those inner conversations and determine what needs to be put off. As the Bible says, putting off the old man and being renewed in the spirit of our mind, the same mind of the divine mind. The world is a magic circle of infinite possible mental transformations because there are an infinite number of possible mental inner conversations. When you discover the creative power of your inner talking, you're going to realize what's truly been running the show of your life. Then you can act on purpose with this knowledge instead of simply doing what you've done to this point, directing your life one way or another, consciously or unconsciously. Everything is a manifestation of the mental conversations that go on inside you, even without your being aware of them. Now is the time to become aware of them and act with a purpose. Bottom line, your mental conversations attract your life, and your life stays that way as long as there is no change in your inner talking. The personal history of you remains the same. To attempt to change the world before you change your inner talking is to struggle against the very nature of things. You can go around and around in the same circle of disappointments and misfortunes, not seeing them as caused by your own negative inner talking, but instead thinking that it's all caused by others. I know this may seem far-fetched, but it's a matter that lends itself to research and experiment. One day, a woman told me of her difficulties in working with her employer. She was convinced that he unjustly criticized and rejected her very best efforts. And upon hearing her story, I explained that if she thought him unfair, it was a sure sign that she herself was in need of a new conversation piece. There was no doubt that she was mentally arguing with her employer. Remember, others only echo that which we whisper to them in secret. She confessed that she argued mentally with him all day long. When she realized what she had been doing, she agreed to change her inner conversations with her employer. She imagined that he had congratulated her on her fine work and that she in turn had thanked him for his praise and kindness. To her great surprise, she soon discovered that her own attitude was the cause of everything that befell her. The behavior of her employer reversed itself. It echoed now in a new way, as it had always done, due to her mental conversations with him. I rarely come across a person without wondering, to what conversation pieces is he or she tied to? What mysterious track is he or she walking? We must begin to address life consciously, for the solution of all problems lies just in this. Neville Goddard often refers to the Apostle Paul, who said in Ephesians, "Be imitators of God." So, how would we imitate God? Well, we're told that God calls things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen becomes seen. Now, let me repeat that here, because it's very important that you hear this. We are told that God calls things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen becomes seen. This is the way the woman called forth praise and kindness from her employer. She carried on this imaginary conversation with her employer from the premise that he had praised her work. And he did. She called on things that were not seen as though they actually existed in reality, and the unseen became her reality. In various ways, your inner conversations represent the world you live in. Your individual world is only a self-revelation of your own inner speech. We all, at some point in our lives, abandon ourselves to negative inner talking, especially with everything that's going on around us, everything in the world, everything that's happening in politics, everything that's happening in the economy, everything that's happening out there. At the same time, we expect to retain command of our lives. That doesn't even follow law. I mean, let me tell you something. Your present mental conversations do not recede into the past, as we're led to believe. They advance into the future to confront you as either wasted or invested words. Now is the time to change that. Now, as Neville Goddard quoted from the Bible, is your day of salvation. It is only what is done now that counts, even though its effects may not be visible until tomorrow or next week or the next month. So call, not out loud, but by an inner effort of intense attention to your inner conversation. Then listen attentively, as though you've heard someone congratulating you on the great success, or is responding to just exactly as you have prescribed. These two thinking actions create the events and relationships of your life. Your world is made visible. Your word is made visible. Your inner conversations are perpetually outpictured all around you. They're literally carving out your reality as you sit here listening to this. So what you desire to see and hear without, you must see here first within. The entire manifested world today goes to show us what our unspoken thoughts are capable of doing. If you practice this art of controlled inner speaking, you're going to know the thrill. What a thrill it is to transform and channel the immense creative energies of you, of your inner speech, from the mental and emotional level to the physical level. The unseen becomes seen. So now, what is your aim? Does your inner talking match that aim? It must, if you wish to realize that aim. Like Neville says, as the prophet Amos once noted, two cannot walk together unless they are agreed on the path. The two who must agree are your inner conversation and your stated desire, your stated demand. That is what you desire to see and hear without. You must first see and hear within. Every single stage of your progress is made by the conscious exercise of your imagination, matching your inner speech. And as you control your inner talking, matching it to your fulfilled desires, you can seriously lay aside every other process. This is it. This is truly all you need to change the direction of your life, your successes, your relationships, your health, your wealth. This is operating from imagination and will in the right order. This is something I teach about all the time. I call it your tower of power. When you imagine the wish fulfilled and carry on mental conversations from that premise, not hoping, not affirming time and time again and doubting that it's ever going to happen. You must have the conversation from the premise. It actually stabilizes your inner conversations in congruence with that imaginative act. Did you get that? That correct inner speech is the speech that realizes your result. It crafts your preferred reality around you with startling precision. This isn't superstition or chance or even woo-woo. This is directed, energetic imagination, stabilized by your will, that becomes structure. What appears as magic is simply being the cause. Being the cause. Being the cause understood and applied. You are being the cause. You are influencing and actually shifting the energy of the world around you to your outcome. That is physics. With your gift of divine mind and speech, you create the conditions and circumstances of your life, period. They are never separate one from the other. Your life is the union of word and mind. If your mind is one with your inner conversations, then to be transformed in mind is to be transformed in conversation. The idea in your mind that sparks the entire process, this is the idea that you have accepted as truth. It is the seed of your life. What seed are you planting? If you continue to experience failure, delay, loneliness, melancholy, even argumentative people in your daily world, what seeds are you planting from your inner conversation? If you want to reap, harvest this kind of success in your life, you must plant this very same success in your mind, in your inner conversations. Now, here's a very important point to grasp that will likely upend everything you've been told. Neville Goddard said, "Truth depends on the intensity of imagination, not on facts." Did you hear that? That bears repeating, because this is a giant concept you've got to understand. Truth depends on the intensity of imagination, not on facts. The current facts in your life are evidence of prior imaginative acts. Think about it. Think about the facts of your life. They stemmed from your imaginative act. The truth was accepted. They are not constraints on your future reality. When the woman imagined that her employer was unfair, his behavior confirmed her imagination. When she changed her assumption of him, his behavior reflected the change. Even a false assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. It becomes the purported truth. Think about that in your life. The mind always behaves according to the seed of assumption that is planted within. Therefore, to experience success, you must assume that you are successful. Not that you want to be successful, not that you're going to be successful. You must live in the being space. You must live wholly on the level of the imagination of success itself, and it must be consciously and deliberately undertaken. It doesn't matter if at the present moment external facts deny the truth of this assumption. When you persist in your assumption, it will become fact. What assumption are you persisting in today? What assumption did you persist in last year? Signs follow. They do not precede. They proceed. To assume a new concept of yourself doesn't require years of therapy or tens of thousands of dollars in motivational seminars. Simply change your inner talking. You are putting on the new man. Your ideal is waiting to be incarnated. But unless you yourself offer human parentage to that assumption, to that new inner conversation, it's incapable of birth. I challenge you to test it. Try it. Picture yourself as the one you wish to be. then be it. Step into that space. Engage your rich imagination in that space and remain faithful to that conception with your will. You're not forcing. You're not writing affirmations 300 times a day. You are stabilizing the imaginative scene, being in the successful space for your life. Try it, and you will see life shape itself on the model of your imagination. Everything in the world bears witness of the use or misuse of your inner talking. Neville Goddard noted that negative inner talking, particularly evil and envious negative talking, is the breeding ground of future battlefields, penitentiaries of our world. Now think about that. Through habit, habitual thinking, inner conversations, and all around us, you see and hear individuals justifying failure, criticizing their neighbors, gloating over the distress of others, pouring out venom in so many misuses of the word that it actually perpetuates the violence of the world. You do not have to be a part of that. As Reverend Michael Beckwith says, that thinking is out of integrity with your soul. Your soul is brimming over with possibilities for you, for your life, for your purpose. You are standing in the field of infinite potential. You are the field of infinite possibility. Speak to that. Join your inner conversationalist about your possibilities. Don't waste your thoughts on conditions. Don't waste your thoughts on the circumstances that you see other people creating around the world. And as you begin to have a conversation with the possibilities, you begin to talk from that possibility because you are crafting that possibility into reality. You begin to think from the dynamic of peace, from the dynamic of poise and confidence, from the dynamic of success and prosperity. And then you realize that the only thing hindering the manifestation of more good in your own inner conversation is your own doubts, your own lack of confidence, your own self-deprecation. How many times do you even say out loud, what's wrong with you? Even jokingly. You are always and only overcoming your own inner conversation. You are never overcoming other people. In this very same vein, Neville Goddard suggests that we meditate on a given phrase, a phrase that implies that our ideal is realized in the being space. And we inwardly affirm that being space, that feeling, that tone, that conjecture, over and over again until we are inwardly affected by its implication, until we are possessed by it. He says, hold fast to your noble inner conversations. Hold fast to your noble inner convictions. Hold fast to your noble inner conversations and convictions. Nothing can take them from you but yourself. Nothing can stop them from becoming objective facts. All things are generated out of your imagination in your world by your word, your own inner conversation. And every imagination reaps what has been inwardly spoken for months and for years. The great secret of success is a controlled inner conversation from the premise, the assumption of your fulfilled desire. You're already there. You are already being that identity. The only price you pay for success? Giving up your former conversation. That conversation belongs to the old identity, the false identity, It's what I often refer to in my teaching as the matrix identity. If you want a different world, you do not fight circumstances. You replace the voice that created them. I'm going to say that again. If you want a different world, you do not fight circumstances. You replace the voice that is creating them. Use your imagination consciously. Speak inwardly only what aligns with your ideal. Change the conversation, and you've changed the cause. You are the cause. So here's the real question. What conversation are you carrying right now? What conversation are you carrying right now that your future is quietly agreeing with? That's how we bring this into your real world. If the same problems keep repeating, it's not because life is unfair. It's not because you didn't get all the benefits. It's because your inner conversation hasn't changed. Your world echoes what you rehearse in secret. Your world echoes your word. Change the rehearsal, and the performance changes. If this clarified something for you, subscribe and share it. Like this video. There are more of these coming, and we're not doing surface level motivation here, as you can see. We're working at the level where identity becomes outcome. Your identity creates your outcome. Be the cause. You are the catalyst. And this is the code.